Hey everybody, this is Tim Charron, and welcome to my brand new podcast called The Charron Zone. Blah, 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 blah. Welcome everybody to The Charron Zone. We are at Ocean State Studios, and today I'm going to talk again about booking gigs because it is one of the most important things that you can do in your music career, especially as an independent artist, and especially when you're first starting out. But throughout your career, it's going to be extremely important until you can attract a real full-time booking agent. So I'm going to address when I first started and the first few years, and basically booking myself at small shows, mostly solo acoustic gigs on bar stools for 4 hours a night. And those were invaluable gigs because, number one, it's the only way I was making money at the time, so I kind of had to do it. And I was playing sometimes 6 or 7 days a week for 4 hours, sometimes doing doubles. On holidays, I did a few doubles on Christmas and what else, Mitch, like Thanksgiving or something?
Every holiday.
New Year's Eve, all those things. So I find that booking, it's interesting because when you're first starting out, everything is, as a rule, as a quote, everything's harder at the beginning. It just gets, the more you push forward and the better you get at things, the easier they get. So I just find that when I first started and I was trying to get into bars, it was really difficult because, number one, the managers are super busy. The last thing they really care about is the live music, and sometimes they can be not so friendly and nice. So here's what I would tell you to do. If this is, of course, if you're kind of in your hometown, not in a place like Nashville or LA, because that's a totally different monster. So this is it if you're in your hometown and you're starting out and you want to start making a name for yourself and making some money. And the other great thing is that you're going to get hours and hours and hours and hours of stage time, live, even if it's in front of 10 people. It's invaluable to get that stage time so you can build up your you can build up your act, you can build up your skills, you can build up your stage presence. If you can entertain 10 people, it's easier to entertain 1,000. So what I would do, number one, very, very important, I would make sure that you guys have a website. Do not approach, I don't care if you're playing at the VFW down the street, do not approach someone and tell them, yeah, you can check me out on Facebook. That's ridiculous. That shows that you're a complete novice. So get a website, Host Baby. Actually, I'm going to tell you a quick story about the founder of CD Baby, Derek Sivers. Check him out. He's genius. He founded CD Baby, and Host Baby is another company of CD Babies. So that's who hosts my website. Get a real website and make sure that you have some live footage from YouTube or whatever that you just link, put an embedded video on your website and put wherever else you're playing. So very, very simple. It's a numbers game. Calling the venue or dropping by. I mean, obviously, if you can drop by and ask who the manager is, who does the live music bookings, that's the best way to do it. In lieu of that, make sure you call. Calling is extremely important. It's going to end up being one of the hardest things that you do, but it's going to be the most powerful things that you do. It doesn't matter what business you're in. Getting on the phone and being able to call people, I mean, it's basically cold calling, so it's tough. I mean, there's no way around it. So call them. Do not email them first, because you need an excuse to call them, to get their email address, even if you already have it, because you want them to know who you are. So you call them. I probably said this already on five different blogs and stuff, but you call them. You say something really quick. This is what I do. Hey, I'm Tim Charron. I play country rock with a twist of lime, and I'd like to get your email address so that I can send you my website so that we can see if we can do some bookings. Boom. he or she gives you the email address. Don't keep them on the phone. Say, thank you very much. It's going to come from Tim Charron at whatever, at live.com or some shit like that, so that they know what your email address, and you repeat your name. That's a good one, right? That's a good one. So it's always good to repeat your name or your band's name. So then you have it perfectly set up so you can email them, and then if they don't get back to you, you can call them in another week or two and say, hey, I just wanted to make sure that you got the email. So you never pitch yourself on the phone. It's not a hard sell. It's a super soft sell. It's basically, hey man, I know you're busy, or hey woman, I know you're busy. Can I get your email address so I can send you my website? And that's it. Simple dimple. Just like keep it short and sweet, and make sure you email their website. And I want to talk a little bit about whether or not you should play for free and for exposure. Now, these are all things that you're going to go through for your whole career. I mean, people get asked to do fundraisers and nonprofits all the time. So my advice is do what I did, do what Taylor Swift did, do what Derek Sivers from CD Baby says. Play everywhere and anything, every single gig that you can play, every bar mitzvah, every barn house, every boat, every church, every synagogue, every temple. Did I get them all? Yeah, so play everything. Now, of course, you're going to want to get paid for playing bars and playing 4-hour sets. And then you basically, there are kind of 3 sliding scales of whether or not I'm going to take a gig. So when you're first starting out, I think you should just take everything, because that leads to, it always leads to more, or usually it leads to more. So, and then when you start getting a certain amount of success, at a level that you want, then, you can start saying no to things. But my sliding scale is, okay, if it's something for charity, then, and it's not going to pay, it's a very simple, it's very simple for me to figure out. Am I available? Is the charity legit? And is it close enough where if it's not close enough, then they need to pay for me to travel and travel expenses. That's that. Now, the big one is exposure. People are going to tell you that, you can do things for exposure. Usually, it's kind of bullshit. A lot of those things, they're trying to make money off of people, acts playing for free at their event, and then people come to see them. But the big one is, for me, my criteria is if it has a name attached to it that I can put on my resume or on my website, then I will seriously consider it, whether I don't get paid or if I only get paid a little bit. For instance, opening for national acts. Very simple. If it's close to where I'm going to be, this is like a few years ago, and even if it's not a lot of money, I mean, I've opened for people where I lost money, and I've, opened for people where I've made a lot of money. So, there you go. That's a simple rule, right? Mm-hmm. If you can put it on your resume, and you think that it's impressive looking on your resume or on your website, then definitely consider doing it. And even if you lose money, if it's worth it to you to, open for Garth Brooks in Alaska, and you had to pay your way to go up there and stay there, and the only thing you got out of it was playing in front of all of his fans and putting on your resume that you opened for Garth Brooks on the main stage, I would really seriously consider doing that. I consider that doing that now. So if anybody knows Garth's people. Right, Smidge?
Absolutely.
Smidge is over here. She's sitting there in her pink robe. She looks amazing. She's loving Ocean State Studios, aren't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what should we wrap up with?
I think that was a good wrap up taking advantage of the shows that make sense. I think the exposure shows don't always make sense. It's just something for the venue. It's not really beneficial to the artist.
Yeah, the exposure shows, and I'll do another podcast on taking advantage of opportunities when you get to play for big crowds, like an exposure show. If you get in front of 5,000 people, then it's probably worth it, or 1,000 people, then it's probably worth it. If you're playing for exposure for 50 people, it doesn't add up. You know what I mean? The stage has to be big. The production has to be big. This is the way I look at things. The crowd has to be big, because more than getting, well, half of what you're getting out of it is not necessarily exposure, but you're getting content. And this is another whole podcast that I could go on for hours about. But you want to do two things when you get an opportunity to play on a big stage in front of a lot of people, right? You want to convert those fans into fans of yours, because a lot of people will get in front of all these, these big numbers of fans, and open for Garth Brooks or open for Clint Black or whatever, but they play for them and then it's over and they aren't retaining fans. So there's a bunch of tricks and tips to retain fans, to grab them and keep them in your family, so to speak. So it's that, but also you want content. You want video, you want photos of you playing on a big stage. If there's a big crowd, you want the big crowd in it, because you want to put that stuff on your website so that when you call the next bar or the next venue, that stuff is, those photos or videos are right on your website, and that's your calling card. That's your sell. You don't have to sell yourself. It took me 6 years to figure this out of trying to call bars or venues or whatever, festivals, and trying to sell them that I would be a great act to have at their venue. And I finally figured out after hours, hundreds of hours of trial and error, that it's much more simple than you think. So keep it short. Get them on the phone. Make sure you get them on the phone first. Never email them first. And then make sure you have a website to send to them. And then take advantage of the opportunities. And, if you guys have any questions, do me a favor and post them, whether it's on as a rating on iTunes or definitely on YouTube. And because I'd love to answer some of your direct questions, or send me a question on any social media. Tim Charron Band on Facebook, Tim Charron Band on Instagram. That's how you spell my last name, Charron. And there you go, man. That's the Charron Zone podcast for you. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube, because we're doing all these YouTube videos, and everything's for free. And we're going to have some really awesome guests, some professional music industry people coming up. I'm actually shooting the first one this Friday, so I'm very excited to share all this wealth of knowledge from music industry professionals. And so hopefully we can all learn from it, and we can all take our music careers to the next level in the Charron Zone. Thank y'all.